Thanks so much for giving us some time, Magnus. The question is, you're here, exchange consolidation is happening all around us. What's the next plan for you guys since you were unable to have the Australian deal go through?
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here, of course, and seeing all my friends in the industry here at the conference. I think, as we've said all the time, following the ASX deal not coming through, that we are Plan A. And Plan A for us is very much business as usual when it comes to grow and take a lot of new products to the market in Singapore. We see a lot of opportunities in that, and that's where we have our focus.
Okay, we have two deals that are really in limbo, the New York Stock Exchange and the Deutsche Börse, also London and Toronto. They're encountering another bidder. If either of those deals were to fall through, are there any synergies with any of those four companies that would work for you?
We haven't even looked at that, because I think when we look into where we are from a Singapore market perspective, we see so many opportunities in an Asian context, whether it's Southeast Asia, whether it's India, whether it's China or Japan. So our focus is very much in that space.
You also have a previous relationship with the NASDAQ. You were able to sell some assets to them. Have you talked to them for potential partnerships or perhaps doing a deal with some of your other products?
We work very well with NASDAQ OMX. They are our technology provider. The new REACH project that goes live for us in August is delivered by NASDAQ OMX and the technology team in Stockholm, and we are very much engaged with that. We also announced in October last year a partnership on the listing side. So a lot of the corporate services things, a lot of the sort of listing opportunities, we are start working with NASDAQ. So we have a very good dialogue with NASDAQ and our friends there, like we have other partnerships with Chi-X, with the National Stock Exchange of India, with the London Metal Exchange. So we're building partnerships where we see business opportunities.
Okay, and would the NASDAQ be one of those where you could expand the relationship you have now?
I think generally when you have partnerships, you're trying to do as much as you ever can, leveraging our products to them and vice versa, whether it's NASDAQ or LME or the National Securities Exchange of India. I think that's a natural way of developing partnerships.
Okay, we also have the CME that has a number of cross-border partnerships as well. Have you talked to them at all about potentially doing partnerships or an outright deal?
We have, actually going back more than 10 years, a partnership with the CME. So we have a mutual offset agreement. So if you trade in different markets, you can actually clear between the two and you can have a mutual offset. Works excellent. And I think that's actually in the exchange industry one of the longest well-functioning partnerships. Okay,
in terms of consolidation overall, you have said that it might be a little bit more difficult to get deals done in Asia because of regulation. Is that still the case, or so does it make sense for you to look in the US for a deal?
I think that it goes back to what I said initially. I think if you look into what the strength of Singapore is really to be an Asian gateway. We are the Asian gateway. If you come to us, you can trade Indian market, Chinese market, you can trade Japan, Taiwan, Korea. So we are the Asian gateway, and I think we see so many opportunities in that. So I think that's where you will have our focus. I think therefore the focus on Europe and US will have less interest to us. When it comes to consolidation, I think that in the Asian context, markets are on so different levels and doing different things. So I believe personally more in cooperation and partnerships and joint ventures than sort of classical M&A transactions.
Okay, give us a sense of how business is going. In particular, in the past 2 weeks, it's been a little bit rough here in the U.S. for the economy. We know volumes are down in general. How is your business?
Likewise, we have seen, and it's a global trend. We see investors being a little bit more cautious. We see volumes going a little bit down. It goes for what you've seen here in the U.S. market. It's very parallel to what you see in the Asian market, and we are of course affected. I don't think to some extent we are less affected because we don't have some of the players that many of very active here, the high frequency trading. We haven't even introduced that yet. I hope within the next 6 to 9 months we will have far more of those liquidity providers that will have a tremendous positive effect for us.
Okay, and final question is, listings coming from your region have been pretty hot this year. Who knows what will happen over the summer, but where do you see the growth? We're going to see an increase in IPOs. Give us a take of what you're seeing in terms of listings for you.
I think you're right. The first quarter was pretty good for us. We were one of the largest exchanges in the world when it came to IPOs. We had the largest IPO in the world actually took place in Singapore in the first quarter. It was the Hutchinson port, the Hong Kong and South China ports coming to Singapore for listing. They raised $5.5 billion. Very successful for us. And we have built up quite a strong pipeline. But as we all know, that will not come through unless the market is stable. There's a little bit more. And that is a cautiousness right now. And I think that I'm still waiting for that a little bit more stable market. I think as you said, the last 2 weeks was not helping that. So we have a pipeline that is very strong, but we need a little bit more stable market.
Okay, and what do we need to see that? Do we need to see more clarity here from the U.S., or China is also trying to slow its economy? What do you want to see as a CEO of an exchange to be more confident, or your customers to be more confident?
I don't think necessarily we need to see an uptick in the market or anything like that, but just a little bit more stability. I think sort of, if we know where the U.S. economy going, whether it's flat or not increasing, but just as we know, take away uncertainty, I think is one of the key components. I think also the unrest in the Middle East is affecting us. We have the inflation worries of China. I think that is also affecting us. So can we get some more clear sign out of that? I think that's a necessity for see the pipeline coming through.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Sorry
Good to be here.
Take you out of your investor meeting, but
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.